Hey guys, welcome back. Well done on achieving hopefully the easier version of the F chord. In this part we're going to be looking at the much more advanced, slightly more difficult, dreaded F chord, which is the 6-string bar chord. So you're going to be barring across all 6 strings, which is going to take a lot of this left hand strength that we've been talking about and trying to develop, whether you've known it or not. And we are going to be looking at the 6-string F chord. Now, a couple of things on barring across 6 strings. The same tip as before, try not to use a flattened part of the finger like this. Remember to try and tilt it onto its side so that you are barring with the outside of the finger here, the left hand side of the finger, because that's where the bony part of the knuckle is, and that's what really helps to fret the note cleanly as opposed to the paddy, fleshy part that's on the underside here. You want to try and use the left hand side of the index finger. Okay, a quick exercise that we can do to try and develop this left hand strength, and you can introduce this into your practice regime. Just spend 5 minutes on your warm-up time with something like this. Trying to bar across 6 strings and bringing as many of them out as you can. Now the first time you'll do this, you may only get 3, maybe 4 strings ringing out clearly. Don't worry about that. The more you do this, the more your strength happens, the more you adjust your finger so that you can try and get 6. The easier it will become. So, for just where we normally start, let's start on the first fret here and try and place the first finger, and I'm going to zoom in so you get a better view of this, the first finger across all 6 strings on the first fret. Now let's zoom in so you can see exactly where I'm placing my first finger, and then we can start introducing the other notes once we've done this warm-up. Now, when you place your finger on here, you don't want to be too far over the fretboard like this. You want to make sure that, depending on the size of your finger here, if you're young or if you're a lady, for example, you might have smaller first fingers than a guy would. So just watch out that you're not placing your finger too far over. If you've got smaller fingers, you just want to aim so that the tip of the first finger is able to push down just behind that first fret here. If you're not able to do that, not able to reach it, then you may need to move over and use more of this side of the hand, because you can use all the way down to this knuckle here. And I don't know anyone whose finger size is only the size of a fretboard, so you should all be able to do it no matter what your age or the size of your hands. It's all just technique. Again, if you've got large fingers, watch out that you're not doing too much and pushing the finger all the way over. You want to just have the first finger around here. Now, you're going to have to pinch between the thumb that's behind the neck and this index finger here. Your fingers might raise up as you do this because there's going to be a lot of force going down. And what you're going to try and do, press down on all 6 strings and then pluck from the bottom note to the top note. So from here all the way down to here. And it should sound something like this. Now you heard I had one note that was slightly out. So you adjust. You might want to move more to the left hand side and then try again. Still doing it, so then you adjust your finger. And then I've got all 6 strings now ringing out. What was happening was the G string here was the only muted string in this case, so I had to adjust my first finger where I positioned it, up or down, so that the knuckle was pushing down correctly. First time you do it, you may only get the first 3 strings, and then the rest are muted. So you might need to rock a little bit towards that way, towards the floor, to bring out the higher notes. But then what might happen is the lower notes don't ring, but the top notes do, so you need to rock back until you get all 6 strings ringing out. It's gonna hurt the side of your finger because it won't be used to doing it, so don't spend too long on this exercise. Literally only 5 minutes, but if you can squeeze that into your practice regime just once a day, then you'll build up the strength in the left hand and you'll be able to get this 6-string bar chord. If you can get this 6-string bar chord and you actually only need to be able to get about 3 or 4 of the notes to ring out clearly, then you're ready for the F major chord, which is what we're going to talk about right now. Let's build it up one at a time. You've got the first finger that's going to bar across all 6 strings. Don't push down yet on this 6 strings because you want to line up the other notes. The second finger is going to go on the 2nd fret on the G string, just here, just behind the fret. Remember how it looks. The next finger, the 3rd finger, is going to hover all the way over here, and it's going to be on the 3rd fret on the A string. Make sure you try and push it behind the fret. And now what will happen with these two, they're going to want to bunch up together like this. Watch out that they don't move, and if they do, it's not too much of a big deal. As long as you get a clear sounding chord, you've got a little bit of room for error. Final thing, the little finger is going to tuck in just behind where the 3rd finger has just gone, which is the 3rd fret on the D string, and you've got a full F major chord. Now you can see that these 3 notes are being taken care of already. The bar is only going to be barring across the top strings here and the bottom string. So you only need 3 notes from this whole bar chord to ring out. Before we play each note and then give it a strum, just want to make sure that, or just to give you a heads up, the action on your guitar, which is the height of the strings from the fretboard, if you've got a beginner guitar, you tend to have quite a high action on the guitar. That makes barring chords a little bit more difficult, which is unfortunate for beginners because you want an easier guitar to play. If you've got an electric guitar, you've probably got quite a low action anyway. But just bear that in mind when you're starting these bar chords, that you're fighting an uphill battle because you've probably got high action. It is going to be quite difficult to play this chord, but don't let it discourage you. Follow the tips that I've given you so far and you should be able to bring out a nice sounding F major chord. Okay, the notes I want you to pluck are not the bar chord, but the fingered chord that you're doing there. So the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret on the G string should sound like this. The 3rd finger on the A string should sound like this. And finally the 4th finger, the little finger there, on the 3rd fret on the D string should sound like this. Okay, now we're going to do a strum of all 6 strings. That's what an F major chord sounds like. Yours probably would sound like this. That is where the bar hasn't got the 1st finger or the other notes at the top. So you've got to work on getting this bar chord in whilst also pushing down on all 6 strings. That's what you're aiming for. If it didn't sound like that, if you didn't get all 6, that's where you need to put in a little bit of time working on your bar chord and work through from the beginning of the video, the beginning of the first part, looking through how we build up this F major chord here, and then developing the left hand strength, because it's probably more than likely down to the 1st finger not having the strength to push down correctly in the right place on the string. So try that exercise where you're barring across all 6 strings and then try and bring in the other notes. They don't call it the dreaded F for no reason, so I hope that's given you some hints and tips on how to tackle the F major chord. And I just want to let you know, guys, that it is a very difficult part of playing guitar, and everyone talks about the F major chord. Everyone can remember learning it, so it's not. It's something that you guys need to find within yourselves to try and get over that mountain, which is the F major chord. And you guys can do it if you've covered all the material before. You've got the tools, the tips, the hints and the technique to be able to play this F major chord. So good luck. In the time between now and the next part, you should be introducing the easy F chord and the full dreaded F chord into your practice regime. Don't spend too long on it. Don't start cutting up your hands too much on it. Just nice and casual, bring it into your practice regime and spend 5 minutes on it. That's all you need. Consistent practice is the way forward. It's better to do 5 minutes a day than it is to do 2 hours, 3 hours once a week. Just whenever you got time, throw in an F chord and see how it goes. You will develop and you will get better. I can guarantee it. I've seen it in many students. So, well done. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to check out the website for the rest of the lessons and for a much more neater course layout than YouTube can provide. So I'll see you guys over at rexpearson.com, and I hope you share the video. Thanks. See you then.